What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Am I the a-hole for not bringing my kids to my son to be ex-wife's parents instead of spending the day at my parents', like we agreed on? My wife and I are in the middle of a divorce. We have 4 kids together. This is the first holiday season since we've been separated. We made an arrangement. She will have the kids for the holidays we usually spent at her parents' vacation home with her family: Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve. I would get them for Christmas Day, since that's when we would go to see my side of the family, and Halloween, since that's my favorite holiday. We agreed on this months ago. I asked her multiple times if she was sure. Reminded her that she wouldn't be there to see the kids open the gifts from Santa. She knew I would record it or video call if she wanted. She agreed multiple times she was okay with it. She'd rather the kids not miss out on the big family dinners and keep their traditions as close to normal as possible. This morning came and she called me before the kids woke up, sobbing, telling me she had made a mistake. She wanted to see them Christmas morning. She wanted me to drive them back up to her parents' house, 4 hours away. I told her that wasn't doable. The kids were going to open their gifts, and then we were going to have breakfast over my parents' house and start the holiday traditions we normally do over there. I told her I would compromise and meet her at home after church tonight instead of having the kids sleep over at my parents' house, which was the original plan, so she could spend the night with the kids. She told me no, that wasn't enough time with them. I told her it wasn't fair to either my family or the kids, who are excited to see their cousins and grandparents. She's upset at me now, calling me vindictive, purposefully keeping the kids from her, and won't call them because she doesn't want them to see her this upset. Meanwhile, my 4-year-old is crying because she wants to show her the dollhouse she got. Note, her reasoning is that I'm welcome to stay at her parents' house, but she's not welcome at my parents' house. Due to the reason of our separation being her infidelity, she's not welcome there. I'm not looking for relationship advice. I want to know, am I the a-hole for not bringing my kids back to my soon-to-be ex-wife's parents' house like she wants, and instead taking them to my parents' house? Saul78 judges first. Not the a-hole. She agreed to it, and she's getting the kids for a lot of the other days, and you offered a compromise. Another thought from If You Know, You Know 4. Not the a-hole. I get she is sad, but why are her feelings more important than everyone else's? I genuinely believe your compromise is really good. Plus, she already has them every other holiday, so it sounds more than fair that she only sees them tonight. From now on, I would either record calls or only use text messages to keep proof of anything in the future, just in case it isn't a one-time thing and also in case the divorce gets nasty or something. This way you have proof for these exact situations, that you were looking for the best compromise while she was being selfish. Next judgment from Hooked on Phones Ex. Not the a-hole. I understand why your ex is upset, but this is the arrangement she came to with you, and it isn't reasonable to change it now. However, may I ask why she isn't welcome at your parents' house? On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for calling out mother-in-law for bringing her husband a separate meal when I hosted Christmas? We did Christmas at our house for the first time ever. Mother-in-law doesn't really like my cooking, and it has been a huge issue between me and her and her son. It is really just the icing on the cake of a bad relationship. Mother-in-law called me and told me that if we wanted her to come to Christmas, we had to accept her bringing her own food because she is pregnant. She already struggles with eating enough for the baby, and she isn't going to eat anything she doesn't want to and maybe throw up to stroke my ego. I've never been pregnant before. I really don't know what it's like. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt and told her to bring whatever she needs. Mother-in-law brought a separate meal for herself and for her husband. That annoyed me because he is not pregnant. He can suck it up and eat something he isn't crazy about. When we sat down, I made a joke about which one of them is pregnant. Mother-in-law said that she was packing her meal, and he got jealous and was complaining it wasn't fair. This obviously hurt me. He tried to laugh it off and say he should get some perks too because he's about to be a dad. I looked at them and said, "Wow, you are both super rude. I try to be nice because you're pregnant, but wow, maybe next year, just don't come." Mother-in-law shrugged. He rolled his eyes, but dinner was kind of tense and they left right after. My husband says I overreacted and should have just let him eat what he wanted. First judgment from Karma Ran Over My Dogma. Everyone sucks here. This is a situation that could be resolved with an adult conversation. OP, you may well and truly be a terrible cook. You know she doesn't like your cooking, but you're forcing her to come and eat something she doesn't like so you can play the hostess. Why not do a buffet? Everyone brings a dish or two and eats what they like. Next judgment from Here for the Post-it Notes. You're the a-hole. I can't believe the number of responses saying they are rude and the a-holes. She's pregnant. She can eat whatever the hell she wants. She didn't ask you to accommodate her or her husband. Last I knew, holidays were for spending time together, not making people eat food they don't want. She's pregnant. She's uncomfortable in your home. He's picky about the food you cook. Yeah, if anything, they accommodated you by taking care of their needs so they could still show up and spend time with you and your husband. Both you and your mother-in-law sound like nightmares. Next response from Massive Emergency 42. Everyone sucks here. She was extremely rude about it, but you either have different tastes or your cooking isn't up to snuff. No one should have to eat an entire meal that they don't like, but it's customary to have what my friends and I call a no thank you bite, or put the blame on yourself to remain polite. Rather than what she said, it would be more gracious to say, "Oh, you know, the pregnancy makes my stomach flip," or "Husband has texture issues, doesn't like many kinds of food." Her lack of tact makes her an a-hole. You're one for calling it out and going nuclear over it. You could have just noted that they wouldn't eat whatever you cook and acted accordingly, rather than saying they shouldn't even come next year. So what if they don't want to eat your cooking? No one should have to eat something they find disgusting to make you happy. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for turning around and leaving Christmas, 2-hour drive, because my estranged mother-in-law called me a hoe and father-in-law forgot he invited us? I'm writing this while my husband drives and my family is not happy. My in-laws either divorced or were in the process of divorcing. It was a really long, drawn-out thing, and I lost track. We are no contact with mother-in-law due to how she treats me. We agreed in September to spend Christmas with father-in-law so he wouldn't be alone, which means a 2-hour drive. We didn't confirm plans closer to Christmas, which might be our bad. When we got there, we knocked and he didn't answer, so we let ourselves in. There were a few gifts out on the floor, no tree, and all the lights were off. I felt uncomfortable, but my husband said he was probably sleeping and we should let him sleep. I just assumed the gifts were for the kids and told them to go ahead. Father-in-law is a really laid-back guy and wouldn't care. But they opened the first one and it was a Tiffany's box, so I realized we might have messed up by touching the gifts. I kind of low-key hoped they were for us, but put it back. Then, no-contact mother-in-law came down half naked and started being like, "What the F? How did you get in the house?" I was totally shocked and my husband was uncomfortable. Father-in-law came down and acknowledged that he had invited us, but totally forgot. My husband said he thought mother-in-law had a boyfriend, and then, right in front of my kids, father-in-law went on a rant about "F that guy." Him cussing in front of the kids has been an issue previously. Then mother-in-law saw the Tiffany's box and yelled, "Father-in-law's name, that hoe got into my presents." Previously, I handled mother-in-law by walking out the second she ran her mouth, so I told my husband that was it and we were going. He tried to talk me into staying, but I said I was not going to be disrespected and I wasn't going to spend Christmas with her. My husband wanted to stay and at least rest a little and eat, and my kids wanted to play with the dog. But mother-in-law kept sighing and implying she wanted us gone. Father-in-law wasn't even that apologetic and kept caressing her and being weird, so I said we were going. Now we are in the car and my husband is annoyed and the kids are cranky. Father-in-law sent a long text about how we were in the wrong because we broke into his house, despite him giving us the key, and said I shouldn't have touched the gifts and he just totally forgot he invited us. I'm so annoyed right now and feel the whole day has been wasted, but my husband is acting like that is my fault. First judgment from Cyric 13. Everyone sucks here. You and your husband didn't confirm visiting with the father-in-law. You opened gifts that you didn't know if they even belonged to you. You and the husband walked in, using a key, knowing you didn't confirm a visit closer to Christmas time. Mother-in-law calling you a hoe, attacking your family, is a giant a-hole. Father-in-law groping mother-in-law in front of everyone is an a-hole? Like, the only innocent party here is the dog and the kids. You are all awful. No one here did the right thing at all. Ab828 says, "You lost me at letting the kids open presents. Even if father-in-law had bought them gifts and they were from him, you were robbing him of being able to gift them and see the kids' expressions. So selfish and entitled. Mother-in-law is obviously an a-hole, but so are you. Everyone sucks here." One more judgment from Kevy Pants. Everyone sucks here. You should have confirmed with father-in-law closer to the day. It's also very weird that you let your kids just open up some presents that weren't marked. But of course, mother-in-law shouldn't treat you the way she does, and father-in-law shouldn't swear in front of the kids. He also should have reached out to confirm the visit. Having said that, I don't blame you for driving back home immediately. Sure, everyone's pissed off, but you can't be expected to stay there while mother-in-law is disrespecting you. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for ditching my brother at a ski resort? This needs quite a bit of context. First of all, I'm an amputee. I don't have left leg below the knee, and I haven't since I was 16. I'm 25 now. I won't bore you with the details why, but just know that I've fully accepted myself and my body, and I maintain a positive attitude. One thing I've always wanted to do, but never got the chance, is to learn how to snowboard. This winter, my twin brother volunteered to teach me. He learned it in his teens, but I couldn't because, well, I was learning how to walk again in the meantime. I've been talking about it for a while and finally decided to do it. We live within a day's trip distance of some resorts, and last weekend we agreed to drive up to give it a go. At the last minute, he asked if he can also bring his new girlfriend, of 1 month, who's allegedly a pro. I was cool with it and drove them both up. I got really negative vibes from her right away. She was rude and dismissive, despite the fact that I was their ride. Then, on the hill, as he was teaching me the basics on the bunny hill, she kept rolling her eyes and complaining how she wanted to go to the Black Diamonds. He told her to go ahead, but he wasn't going to leave me. She just kept scoffing and complained she'd be bored alone. Snowboarding is hard to learn for anyone, but especially for someone with a prosthetic leg. I was having a very hard time with it, and it felt humiliating, even though my bro was very patient. After landing on my butt yet again and bruising my tailbone, I started tearing up and said I wanted to take a break. My bro was tired but patient, and he suggested getting some hot chocolate and then calling it a day. Then his girlfriend let out, "So we don't even get any time on the mountain? You didn't tell me she's a freaking cripple." That really upset me, especially that he didn't say anything and instead apologized to his girlfriend. So I stormed off crying and drove away. I didn't calm down for a while. I've never felt so useless and insulted. He had to call his buddy for a ride home. Now he demands I apologize to him and his girlfriend. Am I the a-hole? A crying rock judges first. Oh, Major, not the a-hole. And I was so happy about your brother's treatment until he let that a-hole girlfriend say those things, then apologize to her? Nope. I'd not speak to him until he apologized, and I'd speak to her pretty much never effing again. The OP responds, "He said he's slightly on the spectrum and has trouble controlling what she says. She apparently will apologize to me if I apologize for leaving them first." Summer Nix responds next. No, she needs to apologize first. She doesn't have a right to demand an apology from you. Being on the spectrum isn't an excuse. There's a difference between being blunt and being mean. She was being mean. All of her negative behavior beforehand is not a sign of an autistic person. It's a sign of a major a-hole. Pat James 904 has the next thought. Not the a-hole. Wait, what? You are supposed to apologize to him and his girlfriend after what she said? What the hell? I mean, I gasped when I read that. Your brother was doing really well until the end, and then he turned into a total A. It goes without saying that an A she is. Don't you dare apologize. I swear I would go no contact with both of them. I am so totally pissed right now. I'm giving you a virtual hug. You deserve to be treated so much better. One last thought coming from Maleficent Ad 3958. Not the a-hole. Don't apologize. Go no contact with your brother as long as he keeps sniffing after her. Of course, you should not have to tolerate her presence. Point out to your brother that this may be annoying to her, but you live without your leg 24/7. She could have just gone to the harder hills by herself with some grace, but nope, she had to cop attitude. I'd also be honest to people about her bad attitude, just in case your parents ask why you and your brother don't hang out. Do not soften things. Do not worry about his reputation. I think there was an Am I the A-hole a while ago where the OP was invited to a hike by her boyfriend, though she was a newbie and her boyfriend kept hiking away ahead of her, despite her asking him repeatedly to please slow down. I mean, he wasn't within eyesight of a wilderness trail. So she went back to her car and drove home. If I remember correctly, she was voted not the a-hole there.